know I was away last week, really wasn't feeling my best, so I did not um, host a live, but I'm back this week. I am feeling a lot better, not 100%, but I am feeling a whole lot better than I did last week. Last week, I felt like I've been hit by a Mack truck, and then the truck backed up and ran over me again. I actually followed up with my endocrinologist, and she was like, that's a little bit unusual. So she added another medication to my regimen, and I started feeling a little bit better, like life was being pumped back into me. So, yay for that. I've been getting ready for my radioactive iodine therapy. And so for the 2 weeks prior, for the past 2 weeks, I've been on a low iodine diet. If you've never heard of it, I suggest you look it up. Just give it a Google, and you can find it on thyroidcancer.org, I believe. And that's a private agency. But you're basically trying to take as much iodine out of your diet as you can for 2 weeks leading up to this treatment. And let me tell you, that was another shock to my system, because even though I try not to consume a lot of things with sodium, like you wouldn't believe, like scrambled eggs, you can't do eggs because apparently the yolks have iodine in them, or certain dairy products. And, so you're having to go through the grocery store and grocery shop, and you're looking at this list and you're like, well, what can I get? So it got to the point where I just said, okay, I'll do almond milk and cereal in the morning, or oatmeal, because oatmeal was on the approved list. And then I, found a pasta that didn't have any sodium or iodine in it. I think we did, I've been doing salads, and I'm running out of things to eat, and that's not good. So I won't say that I'm 100% conforming to this, but I know it's only for a short period of time, but I am trying to do my best to follow the guidelines so I can have the best success with my procedure coming up. So we'll see what happens. Another thing that I wanted to just take a moment, take a second to, talk about mental health. Because believe it or not, my mental faculties have been tried in so many different ways over these past few weeks. It's to the point I rely on the scripture where David encouraged himself, and I have definitely been in that mode several days, where I've had to cheer myself on to get up, to get moving, and to not let my physical exhaustion affect my mental. And when I got to thinking about that, I was like, how many times are we in our daily lives, we want to give in to that physical exhaustion? It's like if we were on the treadmill and we were running full speed ahead, or if you were outside and you were running, and your body hits that wall and you want to stop and you want to give up, you want to collapse, you just want to lay there and be roadkill. Well, you can't do that. You have to encourage yourself. You have to find little ways to breathe life and energy back into yourself and your situation. Now, I'm going to sound a little preachy, but this is not intended to be preachy at all. But these are things that I've had to do as recent as today to help myself change my mindset, change my thinking, and not look at the mountain and say it's impossible, but look at it and say, okay, let's get to climbing. Because if I take it step by step, one day at a time, I can achieve it. I can climb the mountain. I can get to my prize. If you need that type of motivation to keep yourself going, think of it that way. But, seriously, first of all, I want to acknowledge that I know for a fact mental health is a taboo subject within the African American community. And even though it's even not just in our community, I know I have Asian friends that tell me, oh, we don't talk about it at all. And I have white friends that tell me the same thing. But we see commercials on TV and we know that people are having the mental breakdowns, but we are not discussing what were the causes of the breakdowns. In my opinion, and as I've told you plenty of times before, I'm not a medical professional. However, I don't believe people just wake up one day and arrive at a mental breakdown. There were signs along the way that were probably ignored or laughed off or discounted because we couldn't readily explain them. And for myself, I feel like sometimes there's pressure as a mom, as a professional, as just a woman in society that I have to appear like I have it all together, and I don't. It was funny. My doctor, she was like, Valerie, you just had 2 major surgeries in less than a month. She was like, you're getting your body to get ready to go through a treatment. She was like, give yourself a break. She was like, you're not going to always feel like, hey, let's get up and go. She was like, don't discount your feelings in that moment. And I was like, wow. I was like, okay, if she can tell me that, I need to tell that to myself. And basically, if we are not looking after ourselves in terms of our mental health, we're going to be no good any other area of our lives. And first and foremost, let me say, I do not believe medication alone is the answer. And maybe you don't need medication. Maybe you just need to meditate. Maybe you need to set aside some time, alone time, just for yourself that no one can touch and no one can interrupt. And that is your moment to decompress and to get everything in a line regarding yourself before you start giving out to the other roles that demand our time and attention. And I know I'm guilty of doing that. I'm guilty of going for everybody else and putting myself last. And we have to stop that. Just like we want to look super fresh and clean when we go anywhere, that's how we need to be checking internally with our mental health and our me time, and making sure that we are dedicating just a few moments of the day. It's okay to be selfish. I know growing up, people told us, oh, selfish was a bad trait to have. Is it really? Because I find that the selfish people of the world aren't dealing with stress and anxiety. They can tell people no, move on, and keep it stepping. If it doesn't serve their purpose, but I find that sometimes we get caught up and we try to have a different persona than what we're really feeling. We need to put the mask down. Thank you, Shani. We need to put the mask down, set it to the side. If someone asks you how you're doing, tell them, today is not my best day. And that's okay. And don't feel like you owe anyone an explanation why it's not your day, because it's just not. But realistically, when you have one day, that's okay. When that day turns into a week and that week turns into a month, you need to seek professional help. And there is nothing wrong with telling your doctor, seeking counseling, and saying, I need someone to talk to. I need someone to listen to me for 60 minutes a day, 60 minutes a week, and not ask any questions, just hear me vent so I can get it out from A to B. Or if you need someone to help you reorganize your thoughts, or if you need someone to help you learn how to meditate, seek alternate. Don't always seek, I don't want to, worry about it. And then years later, you've developed some other condition because you didn't want to see about it when you were in your 40s. That's ludicrous. But basically, I mean, they're all different ways. Some people find relief in exercise, and some people find relief going outside and watching the sunset or a sunrise. That would never be me because I value my sleep. However, find little ways to alter your mood, to bring, a peaceful environment back into your life. Where if it's your car, then it's your car. Because I've had times in my life, because I had my father staying with me and my son was there, that my car was the place that was mine and mine alone, that I didn't have to share my space. And I really, if you needed to scream, I would scream. If I needed to just like put on some music and didn't say anything, that was my space. And we get away from that because we feel like we have to put on these charades for everybody and be these perfect people when we're all flawed. We are all flawed. Just because my flaws are different from yours does not mean we are not flawed. We are all flawed. But we need to realize that and accept that and move forward. So now that I'm off my soapbox, I really want to address a few things. So mental health challenges, there's nothing to be ashamed of. If you need help on finding resources, our companion blog will have links for resources to help you look into getting the help that you need. Sometimes I feel like if I would have known this when I was in my 20s, I would have been a whole lot better in my 30s and now in my 40s. But even here, now that we know better, we do better. So I'm going to put links to resources to help you find the mental health resources that you need. If your funk that you're in is currently temporary, that's okay. Why don't you change the scenery that you're seeing every day? Because you could be going just a little stir crazy. We forget that last year we were primarily in our homes, that we didn't really venture out to do much of anything. And even though we have a little bit of moving room now, there's a new variant of the virus going around. So, our mental states have definitely gone back and forth. Hell, I think all of us have PTSD. I think COVID did a number on all of us. I know they're not going to admit it because they want us to look at it and call the sky purple when the sky is really blue. But change your scenery. Okay, it's the summertime. If you don't feel like being enclosed in, I'm sure there are festivals that you can attend. There are firework displays that are going on. Get around other people and get that energy that we get from being around one another. Find a community. If you go to church, check your local church and see if they have like Bible study groups or even like fun groups to go out and do something. I have one friend that when she got divorced, she joined the volleyball team for like the rec. And I was like, that's a good idea. I mean, so there are all sorts of ways you can get out and start back acclimating yourself back to society and getting around people, because I find once we shed some of the isolation that we developed during COVID, that's going to help a lot of us. Take a mini road trip if you can. If you can't, have friends over, meet at a park, host a barbecue or a picnic. There are all sorts of things, activities you can do outside that cost little or nothing, but it can start getting you out and opening you up. And I know some of the times when you're struggling with depression, anxiety, you really don't feel like going. But if you can challenge yourself to even go, you will see what a big difference that will make. One thing, try a new activity. There are things like painting with a twist. There's like the Top Golf. There are Michael's has like different crafting classes. There are all sorts of things you can do. Find a yoga studio. I have tried yoga. I love the stretching, but I do not have the focus to do yoga or the commitment to do yoga. Because I feel like if I'm going to dedicate this time to working out, I feel like I need to be sweating. And I can't do the hot yoga, so don't even suggest that. But try, joining a cycling club. I think I also had a friend that they got divorced and they joined a cycling club, and now they're going on major rides. They have built a community and a network. There are things so what I'm trying to say, if there are things like this that we can do to change our everyday, what we're looking at every day. If you can change your perspective, you can change your thoughts, you can change your mindset. If you're still not to that point where you're ready to get out, put on some music. Music does a lot to heal the body and the soul, and it can change your mood and perspective. Find your happy music, find your happy beat, and sing along, because look, no one's looking. And why censor yourself when you don't have to? And then I find sometimes reading a book is good. If you are looking for something to help with positivity, first of all, I'm going to recommend the Bible. I like it, live by it. But there's also a book I would like to recommend. It's called The Secret. So The Secret talks about the universe. I switched the universe for God for my Christian perspective, but I think about some of the principles of The Secret and, constantly, challenging myself to change my thoughts from negative and seeing the black and white to, challenging myself to see the positive or look at things a little bit different. One thing about The Secret I like, it says, don't ignore your feelings, and, you're going to have those bad days, but you have 24 hours in a day. Why do you want to spend all 24 being negative, where you probably have a bad experience at 9:00, and if you can get over it by 11, you have the rest of the time to turn your day around? So I like that, just a different perspective. I like The Secret, putting it out in the universe and watch God bringing it in for you. And also a little pampering. I think I've said that, like I said that a few shows ago, that get a massage, go get your feet done, go get your hair done, get a scalp massage. That's amazing. Do some things that help you take care of you and be a little selfish. And there are all sorts of ways to pamper yourself on a budget. So don't, say, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. We have to make ourselves a priority. Make the time. Because if you don't make yourself a priority now, when will you? It's just simple as that. And something that I do when I've just had enough of the news and all the noise and all the negativity, I specifically go on YouTube and I look for the most silliest things possible. I laugh until I have these laugh lines. I don't want my face to have no lines, because that means I've never laughed or enjoyed special moments. So all these people that go and get all this work done, yeah, you need some lines in your face, because the lines tell me that you've lived a life worth living. So I go look for things that make me laugh. Laughter releases in the same endorphins you get from working out, and the endorphins make you happy. So find a movie or some clips or whatever and just laugh. You have no expectations during whatever program you've decided to watch. You do that. And start seeing just the little things that you start doing, because the little things will eventually turn into big things, and then you'll start seeing your mood shift. And that way you're not tied to a pharmaceutical. I'm not against medication, so don't send any hate mail, but it's physical activities that we can do to change our mental perspective. Now, I do recognize that there are major mental health issues like major depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, but everyone's not at that stage. I'm talking about the occasional bad mood or the occasional bad week that we're trying to get over that hump. Next week, we'll talk about the hardcore statistics and, the medication and the importance of seeing a therapist as well as being on a medication regimen. I mean, there are other things to do to address mental health concerns. Right now, what I'm talking about is just the occasional bad mood or the funk that we sometimes find ourselves in, especially that this week is the holiday weekend. Sometimes people dread the holidays because they're single, they're alone, and they don't like the isolation, or maybe sometimes people don't like it because they have to go the extra mile. These are tips. Those tips are for those people today. Next week, we'll talk about the more difficult stuff. This week, I just wanted to keep it light and breezy, and I just wanted to show my face because last week, I just didn't feel like doing that. So I wanted to get back on the horse and ride it and not give up. And I apologize if this sounded a little scattered, unplanned. I really did have a little list of things that I wanted to address, but I decided to go with the moment. So be it. But I did mention our blog, beyondtodayfortomorrow.com. I'm going to upload some links of some resources for the DFW Metroplex because that's where I'm at. And hopefully I can find some national links for individuals who may be dealing with some cloudy days right now. And once you go on there, and if you have a question, just submit a question and I'll get back to you as soon as your email comes through. I hope that we can really turn this into something that you enjoyed listening to and that you share with others. I'm still working through my nerves. I think I've gotten them a little bit better under control. And so I'm going to keep doing it until they no longer exist. I do want to give you guys a heads up. Next week, I will be having a guest. He's a massage therapist that I mentioned a few weeks ago. And I am really looking forward to having him on the show because his approach to his business and his lifestyle is just really fascinating. It's amazing because basically he learned how to heal himself naturally through some of his techniques. And so I find that fascinating. I am open-minded when I hear I'm open-minded to listen to people's journeys because I feel like we can all learn something from one another. And he's agreed to come on the show. So tune in next week for that. But other than that, I hope you have a great 4th of July weekend. Stay cool. I know that we are dealing with extreme heat. Make sure you're staying hydrated and drink your water. And we'll see you next Wednesday at our regular time at 7 p.m. Have a great Friday night. See you next week.